Meet Alex, a high school sophomore who always meant to get his life together. Tomorrow. Like a lot of students, Alex was no stranger to procrastination. But recently, things had taken a turn. The trouble started with a science test, the one Alex had totally planned to study for but didn't. The grade? A disheartening 53%. That sinking feeling in the pit of Alex's stomach felt too familiar, and for a moment he swore things would be different next time. He'd study harder, focus more, get organized. But here's the thing about procrastination. It's a sneaky little thing that whispers, "There's still time. No rush." As the days passed, those promises faded into the background. Instead of cracking open a textbook, Alex found himself endlessly scrolling on his phone, binging episodes of his favorite show, or getting lost in random rabbit holes online. And when the next test rolled around, the cycle repeated. Another rushed night, poor preparation, and, predictably, another low score. It wasn't like Alex didn't care. When the teacher handed back the exam with a glaring red F in the corner, his cheeks burned with embarrassment. He watched as his friends exchanged high fives over their A's and B's, and Alex shoved the paper into the bottom of his bag, not wanting to face it. "I'll fix this," he'd tell himself again. But then came more distractions, more excuses, more avoidance. Something funny happens when you get stuck in a procrastination loop. At first, you convince yourself it's just one time. It's not a big deal. But as it goes on, it gets harder to stop. By the end of the semester, Alex wasn't just avoiding assignments. He was avoiding thinking about school altogether. His friends were making study plans and prepping for finals, and Alex felt too far behind to even try. Why bother? He'd think. I'll just mess it up again. One night, after failing yet another math quiz and feeling particularly low, Alex sat in his room staring at his desk. Textbooks, notebooks, and old assignments were stacked in messy piles, untouched. His phone buzzed with a notification, and for once, Alex ignored it. He could feel the weight of all those unfinished tasks hanging over him. Was this going to be his entire high school story? Bad grades, missed opportunities, wasted potential? That night, something shifted. Alex pulled out his science notebook, the one that had barely been opened all semester, and turned to the first chapter. Each word was like a reminder of the time he'd let slip away. It wasn't easy. It felt overwhelming, even discouraging. The voice in his head tempted him to quit, to pick up his phone, to leave it for another day. But for once, Alex thought, it's today or never. The next morning, Alex made a small change. He took his phone and left it in another room while studying. It didn't magically fix everything overnight, but it was a start. Over the next week, Alex set timers for focused study sessions and downloaded a planner app. Every time he felt like slipping back into his old habits, he reminded himself why he started. He began small, making flashcards, completing practice problems, and slowly, the work felt less impossible. Finals arrived, and for the first time in a long time, Alex felt prepared. He wouldn't call himself totally confident, but at least he wasn't dreading the exams like before. When results came back, Alex stared at his science final score in disbelief, an 82%. Not perfect, but it was proof. Proof that effort really did pay off. In the months that followed, Alex kept building momentum. He wasn't a straight A student overnight, and sure, there were days where procrastination tried to make a comeback. But now, Alex knew how to fight it. Not by waiting for motivation to come, but by taking small, consistent actions. The funny thing was, the more he worked, the easier it became. And the pride he felt when he aced his first math test of the new semester, that was better than any binge-watched show or lazy afternoon ever could be. Alex's journey wasn't about perfection, it was about progress. Because if there was one lesson he'd finally learned, it was this. The only thing worse than failing is giving up. The grades he earned weren't just numbers. They were proof that with a little effort every day, anyone can turn things around. So, if you've ever found yourself in Alex's shoes, feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or ready to give in, just remember, it's not too late. Pick up that textbook, write down that to-do list, and start. Not tomorrow. Today.